Hey everyone, Daniel Snyder here from Seeking Alpha. Thank you so much for tuning in to this exclusive video here. I want to go ahead and get our legal disclaimer out of the way so that we can dive into premium today. There is a lot of ground to cover. We're going to go through so many different parts of the site and how they can benefit you during these volatile markets. And it gives us a little bit of a breather right now. So if you're watching the replay, also thank you for that. But let's go ahead and knock this out. So past performance is no guarantee of future results. Any views or opinions expressed in the webinar do not reflect those of Seeking Alpha as a whole. Any content and tools on the platform are offered for information purposes only. Seeking Alpha Portfolio is a tool for tracking news and analysis and does not constitute a brokerage account or enable any trading activity. Seeking Alpha does not take account of your objectives or your financial situation and does not offer any personalized investment advice. Seeking Alpha is not a licensed security dealer, broker, U.S. investment advisor, or investment bank. And with that out of the way, we can finally dive in to all of the amazing changes that we have had here on our site over the last few months. We did this, I think it was December or November, a couple months ago, the last time. So since then, we have some new things that I want to make sure we cover today. So if you have any questions for me, drop them in the chat. We'll try to answer them here either throughout the way or at the very end. So stick with me. All right, so let's go ahead and start back here on the homepage. So as many of you are probably aware, the premium homepage. If you haven't taken advantage of this, I highly, highly encourage you to. The one thing that I would highly encourage you to do the most is customize your homepage to what matters to you via this customize my topics button here on the homepage, or by clicking the pencil icon here in the left-hand nav bar. And there's so many options. So no matter what you're looking for, if you're a long-term investor, if you're looking for something more shorter term, if you're focused on income, if you're focused on ETFs, if you're focused on REITs or the bond market, whatever it might be, this is a really cool customizable tool that you can have whatever you want populated at the top of the page. You can do that, and we can move these around here on the side. So for me, obviously, earnings season is right around the corner. I went ahead and moved the earnings calendar to the top of my homepage here, so I can always see which ones are coming up. Obviously, we saw Delta this week. We have the big banks starting here on Friday, so we're all going to take note of that as well into next week, as well as you have ETFs by Quant. If you haven't checked out ETF Spotlight, I host that here. We use this a ton to look at what's going on in the ETF world with all the launches and the moves of the assets under management. Then you have largest cap, latest strong buys I have here. I want to know about the quant system. I want to see what the quant system is rating these stocks, especially in this market pullback, right? If you haven't watched any of the webinars with Stephen Kress and myself, we dive into the quant system and how it's a GARP approach, right? Growth at a reasonable price. And when stocks sell off like this in this current market environment, that leads to opportunities. And I want to see when those ratings start to pop and see like companies like Wells Fargo, where I'm like, wow, really a financial, and that's a 4.9 from the quant system. Gives me that first inclination of it might be in a company that I want to add to my portfolio or my watch list. And actually, I will mention as well, we did a video here at the beginning of April, and Steve actually mentioned Amazon as one of the top 10 stocks for April, which is amazing because we have never had a Mag 7 stock before that actually has popped up in the strong buy, or at least in recent years that I can remember. So then you have mid cap. If you're into that, mid cap, small cap, we have a lot of great coverage here on Seeking Alpha within those spaces. You know, Wall Street may not always want to put out research reports about those sectors, just because it's not really worth their time sometimes. But our Seeking Alpha analysts here around the world like to cover that as well, because that's where you can find some really great opportunity. Like I said, momentum, industrials, and we could go on and on. But I highly encourage you to check that out. The next thing I want to mention is the update to the analysis page here on Seeking Alpha. This is really cool. The team worked really hard on this. We have thematics here. And not only do we have thematics at the top that you can search for, but we have it broken down into what's trending. So you'll see that little flame icon. So obviously tariffs are on the rage right now. You can click on that. You can see all the new analysis coming out from our analysts about tariffs. You can see the latest news coming out from the news team as well. So all of that is consolidated into one place. If you're interested in interest rates, you have that, electric vehicles, dividends. I mean, it's all here. So I highly encourage you just to take a second, dive into this. And you can find some really cool new authors here. Just coming around this section of the site and seeing, even new stock ideas. So highly encourage you, check out the new analysis page. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the core meat of what we have here on Seeking Alpha, which is really the functionality of screeners and creating portfolios, and then leveraging the AI side of our site with all the new AI functionality being built in. So we're going to start here. I know most of you are probably aware with the find and compare section here on the left-hand nav bar. And that's where you can get your top stock screener, right? So every day before market opens, the quant rating updates. And so this page can refresh every single day. These names might change, they may not, right? It's something to keep an eye on, but it also gives you a great spot of finding new stocks that you might be interested in. So from top stocks, I'm gonna go down to the stock screener because I wanna highlight a few things here. So right now, as I mentioned, financial stocks are having earnings on Fridays. We know that's kicking off. So I'm gonna come down here. I'm gonna scroll down to the preset screener for top financial stocks. I'm gonna go ahead and click on that and just see what's the lay of the land today. As you'll see here, Lexington FinTech Holdings right now is the top rated quant stock. It's currently up on the day, 3.45%, while the majority of the market is down. Something very notable right off the top right there. But here's the cool thing is I can tailor this a little bit more. So looking at financial stocks, I want to add some more metrics to keep an eye on. Maybe I'm somebody that wants to focus on those that pay dividends as well. Well, right now, this entire screener is 686 stocks out of all the thousands of stocks that we cover here on Seeking Alpha. So the first thing I want to do is I want to add a couple more filters. So I'm going to click on advanced filters here. And let's go ahead and start by say valuation. I want to know what the price to book ratio is for these financial stocks. And then as I mentioned, I also want to focus on dividend. So let's come here. We'll focus on the forward dividend yield as well as 3-year dividend growth rate, payout ratio, and years of growth. Let's see how they've been doing. But as I click done, you'll see those automatically pop up here on the screen. And then what I can do here is edit these filters to refine them more, right? So I want to make sure that the payout ratio is a little bit lower. I want to make sure that the quant rating, let's go with a 3. So as many of you know, if you joined a webinar with Steve and I, he always tells people, hold does not mean sell of these stocks. Hold means hold. Wait to see what happens. So a 3 is right there in that middle ground, and I want to keep an eye on that. So dividend growth, obviously, I want to see some nice dividend growth. I want to see some good forward dividend yield. Maybe we can get, I'll start with 2.4. I'll just leave it here. So let's go ahead and say, okay, done. We have gone from over 600 stocks down to 75. This is just refining the process. And the interesting thing to me is there you go, right there at the top, Wells Fargo and Company. I know their earnings are right around the corner. And actually, if I want to make sure I keep an eye on the earnings, let's go ahead and add earnings announcement date range. Let's see what happens. There we go. So it says upcoming earnings announcement on the 11th, Northeast Community, 429. And now here's the cool thing. So first off, I can save this screener. So I'll say my top financial stocks, and I'll keep this. And what you'll notice here is it'll actually pop here. Now, this is a new feature. This has recently been rolled out. Your save screens will pop up here in the left nav bar, so you can easily access them in the future whenever you want. So super cool functionality that they recently put in. And then also say I want to keep an idea, or I want to convert this to a watch list, right? So I'll click on the plus portfolio here in the top right-hand corner. I can click all the stocks. I can click a few of the stocks. So maybe say, let's just take like the top 10 that the quant system is rating right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll go ahead and say, let's create a new portfolio. And boom, there it goes right there for me. Now, here's the other cool functionality. So say this is actually a portfolio and I go ahead and I put in, let's say a couple hundred lots, right? Just make it simple, make it round numbers. I'm gonna go ahead and update these. We'll just do it for the first few. All right, we'll do one more. Now, if I click on the dividends tab, here's another new thing that they recently rolled out that everybody was asking for was the dividend metrics for the entire portfolio. So estimated annual income, average yield, your safety score based off of the quant system as well, average yield on cost, dividend growth, 3-year average, and your 24-month beta average. And that's for these stocks. So if I add more stocks, if I subtract more stocks, if I adjust my holdings, all of this will update every day as well. But then you also get the dividend safety grade, the growth grade, the yield grade, and the consistency grade as well. And as Steve also mentions, pretty much the most important one that you need to watch here is that safety grade. And if you ever want to learn more about it, say I just filtered, there we go. So we'll go to Wells Fargo and you can scroll down here and on the right-hand toolbar, not only do you get the dividend grades tab, but you get the dividend grades beat the market link right here. And if you click on that, it'll open a new page where you'll see that 93% of all stocks that cut their dividend had a dividend safety grade of C+ or lower. So it's very notable that you keep an eye on that grade right there. Now, again, growth, yield, consistency, payout dates, everything is here, all the metrics, but also I want to highlight that you can do some custom views here in the portfolio. So in order to do that, obviously all you're going to do is click on add and edit views here above the portfolio. And we'll just say my view, and let's get a little bit of a tailored look here. So we covered a dividend view, but maybe I want to focus on watching growth, performance, and momentum for these stocks. So the biggest thing I can do is go to the factor grades. I want to focus on the growth, profitability, and momentum. And why might I do that? Well, we talk about momentum here a lot at Seeking Alpha and how the momentum trade is just one of those factors that you see work time and time again. And it's almost in all market environments. Whether stocks go up, the momentum goes up. When stocks go down, the momentum goes down. So it's something to keep an eye on. And what I can do here then is go down to the growth. I want to focus on forward revenue. Let's go ahead and go to performance. Let's look at the most recent performance for this year. Actually, we'll take 6 months off because we're not 6 months into the year yet. And then momentum, we can look at where's the 50-day, 100-day, 200-day, some of the levels that some people might be watching here as well. Let's see what the RSI is, the relative strength. And do I want to apply it to all portfolios? For this one, I'll just put it on the top financial stocks here. So I'm going to apply to selected portfolios. Now I have my custom view, which I can also move around. So I can put it all over here. If I want to edit later, just click on the 2 dots right here. You can edit the view and update it at any time. And then also, if you want to copy it to other portfolios, you can do that as well. 2025 dividends are just 2 portfolios I already have created on this account. So let me take a quick second, look at the chat here, see if there's any questions about this functionality. Yes, there will be a recording. Thank you all for showing up. Do you have a rating for moat or anything like it? I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Yes, we will have a recording if you're watching it. Why Wells Fargo? Why not other equities? That's just the one I picked at the top of the list, Jim. No other reason than that. Can we create a portfolio by uploading an Excel CSV file? Well, I believe they have been working on that functionality. So if I go create portfolio, let's see if they have it right here. Upload CSV. I want to make sure that you know that. Enter your portfolio name, upload your file, and your portfolio will be created. Great question there. Hopefully that helps you out, Gorgeron. Where to study. Also, if you ever miss a webinar, since it just came in, go to the home page here, scroll all the way down. Actually, let's do it a simple way. You can come up to the search bar, type in video, and you can click on Video Hub. And you'll see all the great webinars we have with Steve and everybody else here at Seeking Alpha. Is there a way to create your own measure that can be applied as a filter in the screener? So the screener is limited right now to the metrics that are offered. So if you want to create a customized screen, you can obviously click create a new screen and go through all the functionality as well. Click advanced filters and you have all of the different metrics right here that you can add for the screen. And again, you can save it or you can add it as a portfolio. Excuse me. Let's see. When will Seeking Alpha be able to link my Charles Schwab portfolio? There might be a possibility of that in the future. Do we cover any non-US stocks? Great question as well. Yes, we do cover non-US stocks. We do cover a lot of Canadian stocks. We have those ADRs as well, which do cover the Chinese stocks and other international stocks. And actually, we have some stocks from Europe as well that I've seen that are listed here on the American stock exchanges. So let's go ahead and dive back in so we can keep moving along here. The next thing I want to point out is some of the AI functionality that we've recently rolled out here on the site, including, we go to Delta Airlines because they just released earnings this week. The earning call insights. So what this is you have still access to when the earnings come out. Of course, our great news team is always on top of it. But then we have the earnings transcript as well as the earnings call insight. So if we click on that, this one was very notable for me, and I want to highlight a few things here. So what this AI does is it looks at the current transcript and the calls and also the voice tone of management, believe it or not. And it kind of compares it to previous earnings calls. Now, what's the power in that? I'll show you in a second. So the first thing we have is the section of management view. So we have quotes by the CEO, the CFO, presidents that come on the call and talk to investors. We have the outlook that is summarized for you into a really concise form. Then you have the financial results, which are the actual metrics. And then we get to the Q&A and sentiment analysis quarter-over-quarter comparison, and risk and concerns. Now, I believe I saw it just the other day, which is the one. So obviously, analysts are concerned over demand softness in the main cabin and economic uncertainty, reflecting a slightly negative tone. But this is it, quarter-over-quarter comparison. Guidance language shifted from optimistic full-year projections in Q4 2024 to a focus on quarterly results and caution due to economic uncertainty. Now, how cool is that? It's telling you right here. You don't have to go back and look at the previous quarter's earnings. You can see it happen for you. So I obviously want to know that shift. The whole shift is, if you go and read this, they're worried about the main cabin bookings, right? Which, if I remember correctly, main cabin is they want to book out all those seats to pretty much pay for the flight so that the first class can help them take the first class for margin. So something to keep an eye on, right? And of course, you'll hear the other airline stocks come out and start talking about their views as well. But really wanted to highlight that, really just a quick summary of what's going on. Obviously, we'll have it for all of the banks coming up here and then tech after that. So earnings season is about to get started. And let me point out something else to you real quick. So if you haven't already, go over to the market data tab here on the left-hand bar. And you won't see it favorited yet. I haven't favorited on my account, but you'll have this left-hand toolbar, right, of all these different themes and things going on, whether you're looking at countries and you want to see, okay, well, year to date, what's the best performing country? It's actually Poland. Poland and then Spain and Austria. The markets are doing well compared to here at home. So if you're interested in cryptocurrency, we have that as well. Commodities, we can base it off real estate, smart beta, all the like. But what I wanted to point out was the earnings calendar. So I go ahead and click the little star icon. It gets favorited, bumped up to the top. And now I can see not only all the companies that are reporting every day, but also if I have a company in one of my portfolios reporting, you'll see this little orange dot here next to the date. And when there's an orange dot, obviously you want to pay attention. So if you click on those days, you'll see your stock pop up right here. So obviously Wells Fargo, not only that, you get the EPS, but also revenue. How have they done in the previous quarters? How many times have they beaten and missed in the last 2 years? Not to mention that, but also the analyst revisions and ratings of what has happened in the current quarter, the last 90 days, and revision grades and history. I mean, a lot of powerful information delivered here so easily to you. So let me give you 1 second to look at some more of these questions here. Do you have the option to choose between Canadian stock and US stocks? We'll cover that in a second. Can the AI stock analyst be printed? They're working on some functionalities there. Do you have similar AI summary for earnings announcements? AI summary for earnings announcements. Not sure what you mean by that, but we have the AI summaries from the earning call transcripts, which is what I'm referring to. And then if you want to know which earnings are coming up, you can obviously look at the calendar here. And also, if you want to filter to only your stocks, there is this little check mark box here on the right-hand side. If you click that, it will filter out all the other companies except for your companies that are reporting on that day. So super cool functionality there. Now, let's go back. Somebody asked if I can filter based off of geography. I want to go ahead and make sure we point that out as well. So if I come to create a new screen and I'm saying, okay, I want to look only at, I think this person wants to see Canadian stocks. So we're going to look at Canadian stocks. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on advanced filters. Now, company details right here, we make it super simple. You have country, sector, and industry. We can add all of these. And we can even remove some. If you want to take off, say, Wall Street analyst ratings, we can knock that one off. So really customizing what you're trying to find exactly for your portfolio, super simple. Now, you can either drop down and select individually which country you would like to pull the stocks from, or you can exclude certain countries if you'd like to do that as well. So we're going to say includes, and we'll just scroll down here and see. Let's find Canada. There we go. There we go. So we have 1,557. Now we're filtered down 72. So now we got the 72 stocks from Canada here on Seeking Alpha that have quant ratings, that have the Seeking Alpha analyst ratings. And again, same thing. We have all the metrics that are pulled in so that you can filter and boil down to what you want to add to your portfolio or your watch list. I hope that helps. And also, again, filter quant rating. And actually, this is a good point for me to point out our other AI called the Virtual Analyst Report. You may have heard about this. Really, really cool that the team has made over here. This is actually our first AI product that was launched. So I'm just going to go back to all screens. save my screen. We'll say this is Canadian stocks. All right, so we'll go back to my top financial stocks. So there's a lot of stocks here that I'm not familiar with. I'm not a financial only analyst. I look all across the market. I look at growth opportunities. But in market conditions like this, I might start to worry. Maybe want to play a little bit of defense. Maybe I just think the financial sector might see a nice rebound. TBD, right? We're all waiting. But let's go ahead and pick one of these strong buy stocks, and we'll use the virtual analyst report here. So let's go with one. Let's just go with number 2, Northeast Community Bank Corp. So I come to the summary page, the symbol page that we're all very familiar with. We get the 3 ratings here, the Seeking Alpha Analyst, Wall Street, and Quant rating. We have the factor grades that also show what they were 3 months ago, 6 months ago, and you can see the rate of change. So 6 months ago, it was an A-, now it's a B+. The growth was an A+, it's been an A+ the last 6 months. Profitability went from a C+ to a B-, back to the C+, so kind of hovering there on that line. Momentum's gone from A+ to a B, and then EPS revisions have actually gone up from an A to an A to an A+. And then we scroll down, we see dividend safety grade is a C, growth is a D, yield is a B-, consistency is a C right now. So not a lot to worry about there. And one thing I should point out too is our seasonality card. The product team worked really hard on this. Seasonality can be a factor for a lot of stocks, especially in market conditions that may not be as volatile as right now. But obviously seasonality does have a factor into a lot of purchasing decisions in certain industries. So you want to keep an eye on that as well. So the first thing I want to do here is, never heard of this company really, but $20 down 329 basis points today. Let's go ahead and analyze it with AI. Really cool. All I have to do is click on that. It's going to generate the report for me. First thing I want to note is that this report was generated on March 31st, 2025 at 4:51 a.m. It'll tell you that right there at the top. Now, these reports update on an internal schedule that the team has developed. So it doesn't update every single day. I want to highlight that. It does not update every single day. But it will tell you too, this virtual analyst report was generated due to quant rating change. So when there is a quant rating change, it updates. When there's other metrics and things that are brought into the information of this company, it will update as well. So something that you always want to keep an eye on. Also, if you want to share, there's a link icon right there, and it can tell you if you're following the stock or not. So if you want to add put this into your portfolio, say you got sent one of these, click on follow, and you can add it to a portfolio. Now, we can obviously see some of the key metrics here at the top, especially like dividend metrics that we all care about. So dividend yield, what's the frequency, last dividend date, annual payout, things like that. And then we get a concise company description, which is always nice when you're exploring a new stock. So the bank is a New York State chartered savings bank with primary focus on serving the financial needs of individuals and business within its market areas. So we can scroll on down. Competitors and unique value. This is what I love actually about the virtual analyst report is I stumble across a stock I may have never heard about, and then I can find out who the competitors are. And then I can go down that rabbit hole and start comparing these stocks to each other to say, who's the best in the sector? Whose management team is performing the best? And so I just read report after report. And the nice thing is these aren't 20-page long reports. Each of these can easily be read in probably about 5 minutes if you really just sit down, focus, knock it out. And then we give the quant rating explanation of why everything is rated as it is, looking at the various metrics for this specific industry. So very relevant information there. And then we also highlight some of the positives and concerns raised by analysts here on Seeking Alpha. And if you want to dive deeper into those, you can always click on read more or read more analysis on NECB. And then also I want to show, so a lot of that analysis is found right here on the symbol page. So if you ever want to go down and look at all the analysis, you can click on that, see how things have changed over time, see who's maybe been right on calling the stock a buy or not. So let's see if there's anybody that's popped up here a few times. Hemlock Partners, I think I saw you more than once. Yeah, I did. So let's click on them. So NECB rating history, and I can drop down and I can see every time they've written about the stock. So the first time they wrote about this stock was September 12th, 2023, and NECB has had a return of 40% since then, with the S&P 500 only at 18.29. So really, really cool to see that they've got this one called out beforehand. So maybe I'm interested in NECB. We'll just go back to that real fast. The other thing I want to point out is the alerts and the notes. So maybe I've done a little bit of research here on this stock and I'm like, okay, custom note, keep an eye on this one. Analysts seem to favor it. Number 2 on quant screener on April 10th, 2025. So I'll go ahead and save that here. So I have that little note for me if I ever stumble across this again or as I'm watching it. And then also I can set some alerts here. So let's say that the quant alert, I want to make sure that I keep an eye on it. So what if Wall Street switches from a hold to a strong buy because they seem to be the only one that's not? I want to be noted about that. So I'm going to click on Wall Street here. Check the ratings. Do I want to be delivered by email or mobile or both? You have that functionality here that you can update as well. And then you can say save. Now, I want to know when Wall Street has any rating change, as well as I can set a price alert. So say I want to say, maybe this stock, I think maybe might pull back a little bit more here. Maybe I can't get in at 20.88, but maybe if it gets under $20, I want to know that. And then I'll go ahead and save that as well. So I've created my alerts, I've created my notes. And if you ever go to your portfolio here on the left-hand side, you will also see that the notes will well, they're not there. Summary. There we go. On the summary page, you'll find the notes icon right here. And you'll also have your access to your notes within the portfolio. So I wanted to point that out. All right, let's take a quick second. I know I've covered a lot right here. I'll pull up the chat and see if we can get any of your questions answered. I noticed some of the stocks don't have the AI and virtual analyst button on them. Where did it go? It's jumping around on me. Is there a way where we can propose that stocks be available for analyzing AI? So the virtual analyst report has a few criteria that stocks have to meet here on the site in order for a virtual analyst report to be generated. So keep that in mind. Sometimes it might have to do with, does the stock even have a quant rating on it? And there's a couple of functionalities about the quant rating system that we have previous videos that can help walk you through how the quant kind of operates. But for one, if it's a new IPO, we have to wait pretty much a year for the quant system to be entered there, as well as certain metrics have to have certain thresholds for the quant system to start rating the stock. And if you ever want to see the quant system's history, because we are very transparent here at Seeking Alpha, we will always show you that as well. If you click on quant, you can go back up to 3 years here on the left-hand side. Sometimes you'll get it a little bit longer. But since then, NECB, quant started covering back here in about June of 2022. And you saw that strong buy to a hold strong buy. So seems like it has seen some couple hold periods. Again, hold does not mean sell. Just want to make sure that we confirm that. So we just had a question come in about the 250-day simple moving average besides 200 simple moving average. So if you go to the momentum factor grade, you guys will see that we have preset momentum grades, and this goes into how the quant system is built. But this is what I'm excited about. We're going to do a future webinar diving deeper into this, but I want to go ahead and mention it to you. But if you go to the summary page, this is brand new within, I think is like the last week or two, it was just released. But if you click on the advanced charting tab here, there's a whole new advanced charting system. Now, some of this might be completely blowing your mind, but the amount of indicators here that you can add to your chart is now more than ever. So for example, some people like to follow one of our good friends, Katie Stockton, who I recently did a video for ETF Spotlight with. She likes to follow MACD. So maybe you want to add that on your chart. Maybe you're somebody that cares about RSI. Maybe you're somebody that wants to find, let's just go most popular. Let's see what else is on here. Moving average. We can add the moving average. And then if you should have ability to, that's the 50. And then right click to manage, edit settings. And for that person that asked for 250, all you do is type in your 250, click done, and you got your updated chart. So if you want the 250-day simple moving average for this stock specifically, any ETF, any index, you can do that now here as well. All right, let's scroll through some more of these here. But yeah, a lot of functionality here within this chart. I will be doing another webinar solely about everything from drawing trend lines, drawing Fibonacci ratios, putting on, some people love the clouds, some people love Bollinger Bands. It is all built into this functionality there. So super cool, as well as you have the ability to save your views for another time. And can I just blow your mind a second? Say I want to go over to ExxonMobil. Click on advanced charting. Your indicators go from symbol page to symbol page. They are linked to your account. So very, very cool. So you're not updating your charts every single time, but the functionality is insane. If you want to do area charts, if you just care about bar charts, you can do that as well. That's lots of cool functionality. That's why we're going to take another webinar to go through all of that. Okay. Can you save chart changes to be your default view? Yep, just answered that for you. There you go. Can you show how to use the stock screener? What metrics can the stock screener provide? So again, stock screener, if we go back into this, top financial stocks, all of this functionality is built into advanced filters. I highly encourage, I mean, everything is in here. So it's just whatever you are wanting to see, performance-wise, what's this year-to-date performance, the profitability, I want to see what the revenue is, I mean, really anything. So if you want to see short interest as well, you can add it all here. It populates on the screener, and you have the ability to also just click on any of these, and you can filter to see what is most relevant to you. All right, making a comparison. That is a great idea. I was hoping somebody would ask about that. So one of my favorite things about this site is the comparison tool, right? So sometimes it's, well, sometimes I just want to see the financial metrics between these different companies. I want to make my own decision. I don't want to go and through 10 different symbol pages, scrolling up and down, jumping around the whole thing. Well, that's where comparisons comes into play down here on the left-hand side. If you click on comparisons, I have a few of these already created. You can make small comparisons. You can make big comparisons. You can use some of the preset screeners here, like big bank stocks. What's more than relevant since we've been talking about financials here? So I pulled up the big bank stocks that we have. So Bank of America, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, they're all here. And this is where you can just streamline, looking strictly at the metrics, going back and forth of, okay, well, what is their current share price? What's the momentum been? What is their dividend growth? What are the dividend grades? And then the cool thing too is like, if you're customizing one, so for example, if I go back here a second, you'll see that I made one quite a while ago about the big three telecom. I love watching these guys because I mean, the infrastructure of cellular and internet within America, they're just pretty dominating if you really watch it, right? Like T-Mobile specifically has ramped like crazy over the years with getting the auction of the C-band spectrums, swallowing up other companies. So something to just keep an eye on. But you can create whatever you want. You can always edit the symbols later. You can remove ones. You can add new ones. You can add international if you want as well. And then you can always resave your screener at any time so that you can easily find it later on. All right, let's go through here. For closed-end funds and BDCs, is there a place to find NAV value or price to NAV value? There is not currently NAV value here on Seeking Alpha. That is something that I have requested to the product team that hopefully we will be releasing here soon. And comparison between charts, yes, you can do that as well. So let's go and do more of a comparison between charts. Let's go straight to the T-Mobile page. Now, we do, as I said, the advanced chart features here. One thing you can do is add a comparison right here on the chart. So if I want to look at Verizon and T-Mobile directly, I can go ahead and throw Verizon on there as well. And look at that. So let's go back to, let's see, we're on a 1 day time frame. So actually that's fine. So I can go back. This currently goes back to 2022. If I want to go back 5 years, I can do that as well and see how they have compared. Let me remove this study real fast. I can go back and see how they have both performed over the last 5 years or all time. If you want to do that, if you want to go really far back. Man, look at T-Mobile with that ramp. Incredible, incredible. All right, so hopefully that helps you. Yes, you can add multiple comparisons here on the chart and take a look at them there. All right, let's go back here through some questions. All right, can I get the info on insiders or hedge fund or largest shareholders that sell or buy a large volume? Okay, so we have some functionality with this. Actually, T-Mobile is a good one. Actually, let's go. This is one I did research on the other day. JP Diamond, maybe you heard about this as well. Back in February, there were quite a lot of insider sells in JP Morgan, actually. So where do you find that here on Seeking Alpha? Well, if we scroll down the symbol page here, the first thing you'll notice is you'll come across this card of ownership. And this is just general overview, right? Institutions, public corporations, private corporations, individuals, insiders, state-owned shares, public and other. You'll see a couple other ones pop in and out depending on the symbol here. And you can see the current makeup of shares outstanding, market value, common stock held. But if you want to dive deeper into, say, insider ownership, then we can scroll on down here to the SEC filings card. Now, what you're going to do here is click on See All SEC Filings, and then from filing type, just click on Ownership. And I want to highlight this to you. So if I scroll down, I believe, I just checked it the other day, February 20th, I think was the date. If I click on this, we pull the exact doc from the SEC. Hey, there he is, James Dimon. And by the way, how much did he sell? A ton. He sold a ton. I think it was something like 240 million, if I remember correctly. But talking about time in the market, right? Some little pieces of information that you can kind of calculate. Also, if it's part of a trading plan, you'll usually see that put it in there as well. The only other thing is we do have a whole section of the site that is dedicated to 13F filings. Let me see if I just search for 13F, it'll pop up here. I think it's from the news team, actually. Whenever the 13Fs are submitted, they do put them out. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Actually, it would be under, come over here. Excuse me, just moving some of these things out of the way. Account settings, newsletters. We have a couple of nice newsletters, and then we can get into anything here, which is amazing, right? So if you're focused on IPOs, you definitely should be on IPO Daily. If you're into ETFs, ETF ideas, dividend ideas, I mean, this is, I don't know if you've ever known about this, but the amount of newsletters here and how they're just pumping out great information day after day, you should really subscribe to a few of these. You're going to be blown away. I'll have to go back and find the 13F filings. Thank you for bringing that up. I'll have that for you in the weeks ahead. How do I get a pre-market summary of various portfolios? Excellent question here. So going back to our account settings here, if you click in, actually, I think it's manage emails and alerts. Yes, we'll go right here. So if you manage your emails and alerts on your account, you can tailor the notifications you get, specifically also for your portfolios. One of those being that was just asked about was the daily portfolio digest. This is an email that will be delivered in your inbox every morning that gives you the updates of things like quant rating changes, analysis, news, and the like. If you want that, just go ahead and click on this checkbox here. Or if you're looking for controlling, say I want emails, but maybe, or no, let's do mobile device. Say I want all of these for my mobile device. I want to know the news going on and the newest analysis, but maybe I don't want a few of these emails for here. You can tailor that as well so that you really get the news and information delivered where you want them. So highly encourage you to do that. And then same thing with ratings and price alerts. You can control that here. Analyst alerts, portfolio digest, all of it is right here in your account settings. So excellent question. And then right there's the newsletters. Just wanted to highlight that. Okay, let's see another one. Is there information on percent of institutional ownership and how it's been increasing or decreasing from month to month or quarter to quarter? I do not believe we have that functionality right now. As of right now, if you go to any of the symbol pages, we'll go back here. What you'll see for insider ownership is the number right here. So individual insiders, something definitely to keep an eye on. All right, so let's see. If you want to go into financial metrics, obviously that is here at the top, and you can get all of the, you can do not only absolute, but year over year growth, which is something I like to do. And then also the chart show you kind of the trend, how it's all going. All of that is delivered here and pulled from all the reports, especially right after earnings, right? All of the earnings information goes in directly after they announce earnings. And as mentioned, all of the quant system and information updates daily. All right. So I know we've covered a lot today going through virtual analyst reports, AIs for earning calls, the analysis redesign, save screens here on the left-hand side, the portfolio custom views, which we have created and dragged over here. We can drag it back over there. Notes and quant alerts, advanced charts, and customizing the homepage. So Highly encourage. Hopefully this has been a excellent webinar to help you learn a little bit more about Seeking Alpha. There's a lot of functionality. I'm going to give it one more second. Short positions. Funny you say that. Yes, short positions. We actually have a stock screener of the stocks with the most shorted, or sorry, most shorted stocks. So if you want to look at shorts and that's something that's for your investing strategy or trading strategy, you can click on that and find that here. Again, you can edit filters. You can go into advanced filters and come down to the risk section to see what the days to cover might be and kind of pick your stocks from there, right? Obviously, we all know what happened with GameStop a few years ago, where they had, I think it was 1 day to cover and a crazy high short interest. So if you're into that, that's definitely something that you can watch. And if you want to watch this webinar again, because I know we did cover a lot, as I mentioned before, just search in the search bar at the top, videos, and go to the video hub right here. We will have this webinar up on the site here shortly. It'll either be here in latest videos, or if you have any further questions about how to use premium, if you scroll on down here, we actually have a whole playlist of premium how-to videos. You can click on that and go through. And our product team is really, really good. They're always putting out new videos about new features that are coming to the site. Like advanced charting that just came up the other day. So as I mentioned, brand new, and we will do another webinar about that in the future. All right, let's see. Anyone else? If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to us, subscriptions@seekingalpha.com. We are always here to help you. And everyone, I'm going to go ahead and jump off here. And thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me today as we went through all these amazing new features. And I'll see you here soon in the next webinar. And good luck in these markets. They're not for the faint of heart, but take care.